What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speak. I if you haven't heard or not, if you haven't heard yet, Carmelo Anthony just got word that he is has been inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? And so, man, first off, I want to say congratulations to Carmelo Anthony. Um, he had Carmelo Anthony has had a great basketball career. I don't have any, I don't have any issues with Carmelo Anthony being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I think that was that's pump. You know what I mean? That's a great honor for people to appreciate Carmelo's game enough to put him in the Hall of Fame. So now, what do you think about Carmelo's career? I like living here in Baltimore. I remember hearing about Carmelo Anthony. He went to Towson Catholic for a little while and played at Towson Catholic High School in Baltimore. Then I think he went from there. I think he went to Oak Hill Academy and played there. And so I seen some. I didn't see too much of him when he was in high school. Just some clips, some short news clips here and there when he played in high school. I thought, um, he was a really really good high school basketball player. Carmelo was. Then the next thing I see Carmelo Anthony is at Syracuse University, right? He up there with the guy Boeheim, Jim Boeheim, the coach up there in Syracuse, Big East. And so now Carmelo only played 1 year in the Big East, right? But the year he played up there, man, that year that Carmelo played in Big East was just a magical year. Uh, you know, Carmelo, when he got to Syracuse, he hit the ground running. Hit the ground running. I mean, they took off immediately. I don't even, besides Carmelo Anthony, I don't even remember the rest of the team, man. Because in my opinion, that year's Carmelo just carried Syracuse to that championship. And I was just, as like I said, somebody from Baltimore. I know like New York tried to claim Baltimore, but he lived down here for a good chunk of his life, right? In Baltimore. So I don't know. Maybe he grew up. Maybe he grew up. He was New York was his earlier years. I don't know, but he spent a good chunk of his life down here in Baltimore. So for us to see Carmelo Anthony at Syracuse, and then he up there, he doing his thing like, and he led them through, through the season, through the tournament, and then when they get to that championship, Carmelo just do his thing, and Syracuse win that championship, and so after he won that championship, everybody knew that it was it. He was one and done. Um, you know, was nobody expecting Carmelo to come back, after they won a championship. I mean, you don't have nothing else to prove. He didn't have anything else to prove. He was hot. Um, and so it was right for him to leave. He did everything he was supposed to do at Syracuse, gave him a championship. And so he left. He got drafted by the Denver Nuggets. He went to the Denver Nuggets. I thought, like, as soon as he did the same thing at Denver, right? He didn't win any championships at Denver. But I thought when he got there, he established himself as like the team leader. And he was doing this thing again. For some reason, Carmelo Anthony and what's the guy, the coach, George Karl, they didn't really get along. Um, kind of kind of reminds me of the relationship that Allen Iverson had with Larry Brown. You got an older guy, and then you got a younger like hip hop type kid, you know, and you got an old school guy. Then you got the hip hop kid coming in, and Carmelo got the braids and stuff like that, and Carmelo is probably not as he probably wasn't George Karl cup of tea, and George Karl wasn't Carmelo's cup of tea. Carmelo got along with Jim Boeheim just fine, but like I said, for some reason, him and George Karl just never really could get on the same page, and so I don't, in my opinion, I don't know who fault it was. I place more of the blame I would place more on George Karl, just because of some of the things that came out and some of the things that even George Karl said himself. I would place some of the blame on George Karl. But I think that the team that Carmelo played with, he had Chauncey Billups was there in Denver. Kenyon Martin was there in Denver. Those three right there, I thought was the J.R. Smith was there. You know, I thought that Carmelo and those guys right there, I thought they had enough talent on that Denver team to win a championship, you know, and so they didn't win a championship. Um, I was kind of disappointed. You know, like I said, Chauncey Billups, I thought was a great leader and somebody who with Carmelo Anthony, you know, kind of like, you know, like mentoring Carmelo Anthony. I thought that they was going to be able to get it done. You know, unfortunately, and I think, in my opinion, throughout Carmelo's his professional career, I thought that was his best chance. That was his best team, you know, of getting a championship. You know, Kenyon Martin, excellent basketball player, excellent athlete. J.R. Smith, excellent athlete. Won a, you know, J.R. Smith went on to win a championship with the Cavaliers, with LeBron and the Cavaliers. So I you know, he definitely had, I thought, what it took. Chauncey Billups, you know, was a champion. You know, he won a ring, at least one ring out in Detroit. I don't know if Detroit won 2 rings with him there. I think they won one ring with Chauncey Billups there. So, you know, but you know, so that Denver team that Carmelo had, though, I thought that was his best chance of winning a ring, right? So, but they didn't win a ring. Um, Carmelo, in my opinion, still had a great, you know, his run in Denver to me was still great. That, you know, it was Hall of Fame worthy, you know, in my opinion. Then he leaves Denver and he goes to New York, you know. Now, I kind of thought Carmelo, in my opinion, he performed in New York. I think he did his best in New York. I don't think that New York really did enough to put the right pieces around Carmelo when he was in New York. And the reason why I think New York would have been better served. Like Carmelo, when he was leaving Denver, this is what messed him up in New York. When he was leaving Denver, I think he was going to be a free agent anyway. And New York had to give up too much to get Carmelo, right? I think if Carmelo would have just held out for a little bit longer and he would have walked for nothing, he still could have went to New York, you know. And then New York would not have had to give up so much because they was almost damn near depleted, you know, when they got Carmelo. So Carmelo went from a situation in Denver that was a little bit more stronger. He had like more stronger supporting cast. Whereas though in New York, they was going to really be solely dependent on him and not getting a whole lot of help from nobody else. You know, and so that's why I felt like in New York, um, you know, it just was a situation. He was fighting an uphill battle in New York. But, you know, so and that was, you know, that was his stint in New York. He was fighting an uphill battle. Now let me see. He left New York. I'm trying to think where he went at after New York. Did he go? He kind of got banned in the league for, or you know, out of the league for a little bit. It just seemed like he was blackballed for a little bit before he went to he caught back on with Los Angeles. If I'm not mistaken, he might have went somewhere else before he went to Los Angeles. But for a little while, Carmelo couldn't get a job in the league. You know, and some people were saying, well, what Carmelo brings to the table is kind of like his game was outdated, you know, which I never believed. Carmelo, like his mid-range game just was, I mean, that mid-range jumper Carmelo had was down there like a layup to him. You know what I mean? Like anybody, that was a layup. It was almost automatic, that mid-range. And so um and they try to like phase. I don't know if they try to phase a mid-range game out, but the mid-range game just didn't get as much as respect that I thought it should. And that's what Carmelo game was, like mid-range. So, but He came back with the Lakers, you know, had a couple good seasons with the Lakers. I think when he left the Lakers, he went to the Portland Trail Blazers. I think he did okay there. Him and what's the guy name? Was he there with Dame Lillard? He was there with Dame Lillard. Um, yeah, he had some success there, a little bit of success. But like I said, I think Carmelo's best opportunity to win a ring was when he was at Denver. You know, he had a better supporting cast. You know, only thing I just like for some reason I don't know what was going on with George Karl, man. He just seemed like he was one of those type of get off my lawn type of dudes, man. Whereas though, you know, um, he just couldn't connect with his players and get his players, you know, and to listen to the players talk about George Karl after he left, you know, after they left the team, they just didn't like him, just didn't have no respect for him. You know, I think even if you I know it's not about George Karl, but even if you know the players don't like you, they should at least respect you and kind of like, you know, as they get more mature and get older, they can kind of see like where you oh, I understand now where he was coming from, or I understand now what he meant or what he was trying to do at that time. But even time has not really changed the way that that certain guys on that team, you know, felt about him. So that was George Karl's downfall, you know. And so I think in Denver, if had Carmelo had the right coach, I think they would have won that. They would have been able to win a championship because they had all the pieces there. But again, congratulations to Carmelo Anthony, man. I do believe that he has had a Hall of Fame type career. Um, and he you know, like the lost art, he mastered that lost art of the mid-range jumper. And yeah, man, that's what's up, man. Carmelo Anthony in a Hall of Fame. My only question now is like who is he going to have like at his I wonder if LeBron is going to be the guy at the ceremony. You know how like they have somebody like, you know, up there on the stage, which I wonder if it's going to be LeBron, or maybe it'll be Michael Jordan. I don't know. But yeah, man, congratulations to Carmelo Anthony. I think it's deserved, well deserved. That's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.